Holbrook New Media.
This is Jeffrey K. Holbrook. Welcome to the audio feed from holbrooknewmedia.com. Today, Geoff and Jeffrey, the weekly catch-up. We hope you enjoy the audio version. If you want to see what we look like, I will embed the video for this episode at holbrooknewmedia.com.
Hello everyone, I'm Geoff Blanchard.
And I'm Jeffrey K. Holbrook, and this is the Weekly Catch-Up.
Yep. And we're back.
Yes.
You know what? I always think people might see the beginning that say, "Gee, this is going to be a really great show," and then they get disappointed from when they say, "Oh, it's only these two." So, hello.
Oh, it just depends on what they're looking for.
Well, that's right.
I believe yes. I know we've used the word scintillating drivel before, but still, at the same time, though, I've had people in person. You normally will get feedback in person, but you don't get feedback from other people who listen. But there are people who faithfully listen every week as far as the audio podcast goes, and you can count on it. You know how many are going to come from California or whatever, and so you don't ever hear from them. Oh, by the way, California people, we would love to hear from you if ever we could. But anyway, you don't hear from them, but they faithfully listen each week, and the only time you might hear would be if all of a sudden there's no show, and everybody's like, "Hey, what happened?"
Oh.
It might go a couple of weeks, because they'll give you a pass on the week, but a couple of weeks later, people are beginning to ask, "Well, what happened to the show?" So,
Well, that's what they say with a lot of this. It's more the consistency. So that I don't like missing shows if we don't have to, because even then, people get, even if they might not watch the whole lot or listen to it, they get used to just clicking on and say, "Oh, that's on this week," and just seeing a feed in the thing on that, but not necessarily watching it all. But hey, that's what I do a lot of the time.
Well, you find a lot of times that podcasting itself, or again, if you're sitting down and watching YouTube videos, that it becomes part of a person's routine. I know on audio podcasting, you have people who are used to having this show pop up on their feed, like mine comes out on Monday mornings as far as the audio goes. And so people are used to Monday morning having that show to listen to on the way to work or on the way back to work, from work or whatever, or they're jogging or whatever, and they're used to having that particular show on Monday morning. And one of the things I've seen, that if you do it monthly or if you do it every couple of weeks, it kind of creates a bit of a hiccup in people's schedules. But if you do it daily, it's like, oh my goodness, because there are daily shows. Well, yeah, you just get so backed up, and you think, oh, well, But if you do it once a week, and there's a specific day of the week, because people's lives are segmented into weeks. So if you do it once a week and people are looking forward to seeing that, then, you'll have a regular, steady audience, I think, of people who want to hear that every week.
And I know from my experience, with what I do, it's especially the audio podcasts, it's something I can say, well, I haven't got time to listen to that, so I think, well, what don't I like doing terribly much? But then I can do both things at once. So I can listen to the podcast that I don't think I've got time to do, and do a bit of the gardening, which I'm not too keen on doing, but it has to be done. And so you can certainly do usually, I'll listen to some podcasts, and you can do 2 or 3 hours in the garden, and you start looking for something else to do because you want to listen to something else. Or I'll do some of the housework, do the dusting, because it's something where if you go out you can't do it, but when you do these like doing the washing, getting it out, doing the ironing, it's all these things, and that's where a lot of people say they don't have time. But I find it's just segmenting the time differently. And then I've got to the stage lately where now I'll go into the garden and do the garden, and I said, I can't be bothered. I don't want to listen to anything. Sometimes you enjoy the silence and just not doing it. But that's the thing with all this, all these things going around. I've got to the stage now where I just cannot keep up with it, and just stop worrying about keeping up with it, and just take a pick of what you've got, and sometimes it's the ones you like go aside because you say, well, yeah, there might be somebody new. I know what they're like. I like them. But yeah, that's right. I'll give something else I'm not too sure about a go. And that's what I keep. And I've started lately becoming vicious with my lists and cutting them down to about 10 or 15, because I thought when you get 30 or 40, I wasn't listening to them or watching them. So I'm down to about 4 or 5 podcasts. And then I might listen to 2 or 3 of them a week. But the ones I tend to listen to, that's why I like to stick to hours to an hour. Because the ones I tried, the 2-3 hours, and sometimes you're compelled to listen to it, but it's just, if it was an hour, it'd be much better if you could get on and finish with it. So that's just me anyway.
Just a second. Sorry about that.
That's okay. You just got to do it when you're doing.
Yeah, so there go. But the situation I have whenever I have a few podcasts on my phone, actually I could bring them up if I wanted to, but I've got several of them on here now. The ones I always listen to, whenever I put our show out, I have a 40-minute commute on the way to work, so whenever I put our show out, I'm always listening. I'll go ahead and listen to that. And what's funny is, we laugh quite a bit while we're doing the show. I laugh out loud while I'm listening to it because it's just as funny the second time. I mean, it's just, and so I go ahead and listen to that because it's possible, and it has happened on some of the most professional podcasts. All of a sudden, there'll be something that you missed.
That's
like,
right.
There's this one guy, he actually has a school of podcasting, and I've seen 15 minutes of silence a couple of times pop up at the end of the show. Yeah. And it's just kind of like, and so it's a good idea to check and listen to your own show just to make sure there wasn't something in there that got screwed up in transit, because you're uploading it to the podcast provider, and then they are other people are downloading it from them. So it's a good idea to download your own show and actually listen to it and go through it as you normally would any other podcast, because you don't know what might have happened. The way I do, I've got I've got all the different, I don't know if you can see that.
Yes, I can see that, yeah.
Okay. But anyway, the different shows, and you can see right there, Holbrook New Media audio feed. That's mine. And the WV podcast is one we used to have, so that's on there all the time. Versus in Vox, which is the one where we do the poetry.
All right. Yes, that's right.
Okay. And there's Cinema Toast Crunch and Remnant Bible Fellowship at the bottom are a couple podcasts I listen to every time they come out, simply because I actually have helped them with their audio, and and like I said, I know these people personally, and they're actually local, and so I've got several, but I have ones that I listen to every time, no matter what, which obviously our own show, but then I always listen to Cinema Toast Crunch, and I always listen to Remnant Bible Fellowship every single time all the way through. Now the Cinema Toast Crunch podcast, they occasionally will have a 3-hour show.
Oh,
I mean, they're rarely less than 2 hours, and so it's 2 days going back and forth to work sometimes to get the show in. And so, but that's what's cool about podcasting. It's not like you're listening to the radio and you have to be there at a certain time.
You can start and stop.
What happens with Cinema Toast Crunch is that you just start it up and you listen to about 45 minutes of it on the way into work. And then you started back up and listened to it on the way home, and then you started back up and listened to it on the way out. And so the most it ever takes is a couple of days to get that one in on the way to and from work, and that's when I do most of it. But if I was mowing grass or working around the house, this week I'm off, and so we're actually doing repair work and stuff like that around the house from the Burglar break-in. And so we can put something either on the television or something like this and listen to it. Right. Yeah. And it really is nice to podcasting. Okay, video you're watching because you're sitting down and watching it for the most part. Now, I do know, though, people that stream this show at work over YouTube on their phones and just listen to the audio while they're working. It's kind of interesting. So. But then when it comes to audio, that can be going while you're doing something else, as long as you're not doing customer service or something like that.
Because that's what one of that YouTube, is it YouTube Red? Because one of the advantages to that, you can have it going and have it switched off. I mean, not switched off, but you know what I mean, on another screen, or the screen can close. Whereas standard YouTube, if the screen's not on, if it's gone to sleep, it stops. But you can have that so you can watch something else, and then it can close off, you see. My phone's ringing, you see. It never rings. Can you hear it?
I'm going to have to start calling you so you won't be able to say that anymore. Call you during a show.
As I said, as I said, I've had when they had the broadband, had this number installed. Oh, well, now with the broadband for, nearly maybe it's 3 years. This one's been installed. This number, the same number, but I mean, I can tell you since this one's been installed in 3 years, and all the people that's called, out of all the ones I've answered, there's been one actual person that I wanted to speak to. All the rest of it, and like this time at night, at 8 o'clock at night, it's definitely nobody who knows me. If it's anybody who knows me, there's this trusty old thing called a mobile phone. And I said, well, everybody's got that number, so if it's that desperate, I never bother answering that because I'm sick to death of hanging up on people and that. But they just tried before the show.
It's probably the Indian telemarketers again. You remember we had the episode titled about the Indian telemarketers?
Yes,
I'm not wanting to talk.
Maybe it's somebody watching here and just saying, I'm just going to wreck his, because I know he's at home because I'm trying. But it usually stops, but I don't have an answering machine on there because I got fed up with all these funny messages in different language that I didn't understand. It was never for me, but they're going pretty persistent tonight. It's still going, so I don't know what must be a really good dialer on it anyway. But getting back to the podcast, don't you find yourself sometimes, I do, I'm listening to something intently and then I've got to get out the car to open a gate or something, and I forget, I think I'm listening to the radio and say, oh, just wait. Yeah, you've got the engine running. You're waiting. And then you thought, you idiot, I can just pause it and go and open it. But you do it like the radio, don't you? And you think, and then you think, I could just quite easily stop it. So, hey, they're not giving up, are they? I didn't think they could ring so long on a single call. So it's still going. Oh,
well, they may just have a war dialer where they're dialing it, and as soon as it quits, they dial again, and there's not even hardly a skip in the ring. That could be it. But I'm finding with the podcasting, I have certain ones that I listen to every time, all the time. Yeah. Then I've got other ones that I listen to when I run out of material toward the end of my work week or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then, then I have some that are on there that I really like that aren't. I've got about 2 screens full on here. Mm-hmm. The first go-to one I have after our show and the Cinema Toast Crunch and Remnant Bible Fellowship is one called Working Class Audio. Matt Boudreau is the guy that does it.
Oh, well, that sounds like a good one. So I might have to see if I can get that one.
Oh yeah, you got to tell him. The guy is an audio engineer that actually interviews other audio engineers who are working class in the trenches, doing sometimes event sound, most of the time recording studio sound. It's Working Class Audio is what it's called. And anyway, he's introduced there's a guy who used to be the engineer for Prince for however many years. Oh, okay. Just all kinds of different people, and it's not just gear, oh yeah, I got this and I got that, and they're spouting off all these names, and they do say stuff about gear, but it's about the life of the audio, engineer, that type of stuff. And so, the guy has a couple of small kids, and he talks about life expectations and balancing the family life with the the engineering. There you go.
Is that it?
Yes, Working Class Audio, WCA. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, that looks
definitely. No, that is my next go-to show after. Anyway, Matt, if you're listening, we'd love to have you on our show. We'll figure out how to get that done. But anyway, it's just a great show, and I love it. It's very professionally done. And like you say, he's talking to people about audio engineering and the kind of lives they have, how they started out in their studios. Some of them have their own studios. Some of them are working somewhere else. Some of them are just itinerant engineers that go from studio to studio to studio, just wherever they're needed. Some of them, all of a sudden, somebody will contact him and want him to do like engineer a record in Germany or something like that. I
So,
mean, sometimes people just take off and do this stuff. It's great show, great show.
and as we've always said, we're one of the people who think audio makes all these things. Like, yes, you've got the video, but it's easy enough to get the decent video, but it's the sound that makes it. And like I always say to me, if you have a look at any of these fantastic games and all that, it says you try and play them with the sound off. They're pretty boring without it. It's just a screen. But as I said, once you've got all the music, the sound effects, just the audio on it, that really makes it. The same thing with films and that. If I mean, some of the foreign films that you get, the great films, but it's just the audio dubbing kills it. Because it's just loses because some of them will just dub over straight over, and it just sounds too clinical, and it takes away a lot of the noise that they're meant to have in the film. So that's sometimes it spoils me so I'd rather watch a foreign film in its proper language and go through reading the subtitles, because at least it sounds correct then. So.
Oh, no, I agree completely with that. The subtitles, if you can read fast enough to keep up with them, which, again, I've always been an avid reader, so that's really not a problem. I get through with them before they take them off the screen. But the first experience I had with that was the old, back in the, late 70s, early 80s, the karate films, the kung fu films, where they would go, I will kill you. Yeah, and so it was just completely. They were always saying a whole lot more than what the actual English translation was, and that was always kind of comical. No, I love audio, and again, it's even if we're not able to do our show here, I still put out something once a week on my podcasting channel. Simply because, they're expecting me. I have these faithful people that listen every time. And so, you always make sure you put something out. Even, if there was something really big going on, then I would at least put out something. You can actually schedule it in advance. Like if I knew there was a couple weeks ahead that nothing was going to happen, I could, like I do next week anyway.
That's right.
I could actually do a show and schedule it, go ahead and upload it and schedule it like 2 or 3 weeks in advance, a month in advance. One time I think I was 3 months in advance on another show I was doing. And so you can just do that and then it'll just automatically pop up. I remember when I first noticed that, it was like a Monday morning, and I was getting off from work, and I came home, and all of a sudden it was like, hey, I published a podcast this morning.
Oh.
because I
You
didn't do
automated
anything.
it.
But it's automated. Once you do the work, you can upload it a month in advance or more, and it just pops up whenever it's supposed to, and publishes whenever it's supposed to. And again, I love audio. Videos, again, something new that you've introduced me to that I'm comfortable with now. It's very nice, and I enjoy it. But the audio is my first love. It really is.
Yeah, no, I've got to get into doing something, making sure, other than doing this, getting out and just doing a little bit more. Because on the weekend, somebody asked me to film their training session, because they had to do as part of their course was to have a training session filmed, so they had proof that they've done it. So I said, would you do that for me? I said, I'd love to, because you know how we go with all of our equipment. If you've got the opportunity to have a play with all your gear, it's not a chore. It's real fun. And so I got to I took this camera as well. I took the Canon XA10 with me as well. I took the Panasonic FZ1000. I took my LED light with me. So I took everything out there, and I was ever so pleased with me, because I did a proper 2-camera shoot, so a multicam shot, and it was real good. So when the presenter came into the frame but then they walked out of it, then the other camera got them around the outside, so then when they came back, so they never got out of frame, disappeared out of the shot without me moving the cameras. And I enjoyed the lighting and that, and I put them and I took the Rode mic, the boom, and I had a stand going right over the top of the audience, so the microphone covered them. So I got decent sound out of that. So I was really excited, and what I was excited about was all through the filming, you never saw the camera, You never saw the microphone. You didn't see the lights. And I thought, see, that's really good. It's all out of frame. And I was because I was there all the time, just standing behind, making sure it was going. And they didn't even see me once either. So I thought that.
And so all of a sudden it's like, I'm Curtis Judd.
Yeah.
Because I know you've learned a lot of your stuff off of Curtis Judd's channel on YouTube and stuff like that. Because he tells you how to place your microphones and how to do all that.
And I would I wish other people would ask me to do it, because I don't care about being like, I never got paid for this. But then even better fun than that, after you do that, you've got something, and then you come home, then you've got to edit it together. And the thing is, like with Final Cut or Premiere, it's so good when you've got the material. You just got the 2 video feeds. You just on the timeline, you just click on both of them and you say synchronize. And the main thing, as long as you do your big smack at the beginning, on like a clapperboard, so it picks it up and puts them together, and then you just sit there saying shot 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 when you want to do it, and put it on the timeline. And it's just so simple. But something like that, I know it sounds so simple, but I like it. It just made a big difference to the video to have those 2 shots. It probably didn't have to have that. They could have sufficed with 1 shot and the person going out a shot every now and then and coming back. But I thought then it was good because I didn't have to move the cameras. I just left them both static there and just flicked between the 2 cameras. So that was
the professionalism, that the jump in professionalism between having 1 camera or having 2 cameras is significantly, it's huge compared from having 2 to having 3.
And
because it's just so professional looking when you're switching cameras occasionally.
Yes.
It's very cool.
And what I did with the 3rd camera, with the Panasonic, I did that and did a time lapse of the whole thing. So all the people, and then they're coming in and then finishing up and going. So it was about a 30-second time lapse of the whole 45 minutes or the hour thing on that. But if I'd had the other camera, but then how easy is it to justify buying something else? I thought if I had my Panasonic GH5, I would have been able to record 3 camera shots permanently, because the other Panasonic's got a good video camera in it, but it only does 29 minutes at a time. But that's not a problem, because you could just start and stop, but it only does 29 minutes continuously. But the most annoying thing with that is that in that 29 minutes, it breaks it up into 6 minutes and 35-second scenes. So when you get it loaded down, you get, and in that 29 minutes, you've got all these different files. And so you've got to join them all up if you want to do it all together, and then create one clip out of that to sync them together to make a multicam. But then it'll never link up, because after 29 minutes, you had to stop and start it. So there's always going to be that slight thing out, whereas the Panasonic GH5, at least it's got continuous and it's all in one file. So that's good. But if I did more of that, I would definitely get that. But I felt a little bit silly thinking about getting that, because I did sell my other HXC 1000, the bigger video camera, because I wasn't using it that much. But I really regret selling that, I think, because it was I really did enjoy that. So I've just got to get out and do more. That's the key to it.
Well, I've had a few things that I've given away to other people, whenever I wasn't using it at the time, and I didn't see, I'd maybe moved beyond that and was using another piece of equipment, and all of a sudden you realize, boy, if I still had that, I could have used that for this particular situation. And, you don't want to hoard stuff up and just have a bunch of stuff that's not ever going to be used. But at the same time, especially if you gave it to somebody and they never used it.
Well, that's another noise.
For the purpose intended,
Yeah, because if nobody's going to use it and you give it to someone, I can keep that and keep it in the cupboard and not use it. But then I might have an occasion to use it. But I must admit, out of all the gear I do have, I really do use it. I'll make sure I do use it, even it might not be all the time. But I think I'll make sure I've used it, so it's all had its purpose in its time. It's never been bought and just sat in the cupboard. I've done something with it, like this little camera here. I switched to this from the Canon, because it actually does, because the Canon does probably a better video for normal, but as a webcam, this one does a much better shot. It's much clearer and brighter, but this one is just one of my favorite go-to cameras, because when I use it as a video camera, it's one of my older ones, but I don't mind putting it on the floor, putting it on the ground, walking over it, or driving a car over it to get some sort of shot. I've done that a few times, like put it on the ground and driven the car over it, not on top of it, so get a shot of the car going over it, and doing that, whereas I would never do that on my other one. And I did once where on the bike, where I left it in the middle of the bike path, and it was just because I was on my own doing that, and I went over the hill so you couldn't see me, but I was just worried that somebody's going to come and steal my camera in the meantime. I raced like mad, and I was going flying past it. And as soon as I flew past it, there was somebody else coming the other way. And as soon as I flew back, slammed on the brakes and quickly
slide out with
and picked it up, because I thought they're going to come back and run over it. So I had to quickly do it. But on the tape, it just looked like, yeah. And then after that, I filmed me going away from that, so it looked like did that click. It looks like I'll just pick me up going the other way, but I'll just cut that in. I like doing things like that, which just makes things look a little bit different. But then I'd forgotten on that shoot. I should have used my Osmo. I forgot I'd had that. I've got the little Osmo. I could have used that on the stick. I could have used the Osmo and had going from the top, looking down at the audience and that. So.
I did something with some still shots this week. Mm-hmm. I ended up this week I'm off from work, and what we're working on some of the damage that the sleeping burglar did to the house. And so what we were doing was taking out, there's a sliding glass door that he threw firewood through. And what we were doing with it is basically, it took us all day. This is something that a professional could have done, in a couple of hours at the most, but we actually completely took out the sliding glass door, because there is glass all the way around the great room down there. And anyway, the place where the ladder was at and the broken pottery on the floor, that's where this is at, if you look at the original video. Mm-hmm. But what happened was, what we did this week was completely took that door out, and then took lumber and 2x4s and everything, and studded out the opening, and then put plywood over the outside of it. We're going to paint it to match the house right now that has wood siding, but but we're eventually going to put siding over it. Anyway, so what I did was took the actually this camera here.
Oh yes,
and it's a let's see, Canon PowerShot SX20 IS, and it's an older camera. It's about 12 megapixels, and it's an older bridge camera type of thing that I have. And I took the GorillaPod and actually wrapped it around a deck rail, and then just took periodic shots as we were.
Oh, you did it yourself,
doing the different stages. Whenever ever so often, you'll see one of us in front of it, and she's doing something, and there's 3 different shots of her, kind of looking like, oh, he's taking my picture, and then the next one she's working really intently on something, then the next one she's holding up what she did, and there's one in me, and okay, me standing in the middle of it. But anyway, you can see the progress as the original part where we just took whatever we had around here and got it boarded up with a whole bunch of funny stuff, and then we took that off, and then you can see us taking the actual glass panels out of it. You see the shot after that, and then you see the shot of just the frame, and then you see after we've taken the frame out, and then the 2x4s going around the opening, and then the studding is in there, and and so it's just basically from the same position. I would just go over there, turn the camera on, take a couple of shots, and then move on. And so I ended up incorporating that into a video that I uploaded yesterday, plus a little bit of video footage at the end. But so that was kind of cool. Anyway, it's on my personal YouTube channel at geoffholbrook.me. Person could look at that. And again, it's not extremely professional, but I found out something really super duper shocking about this camera, which is probably 5 or 6 years old, 12 megapixels. Okay. And this camera,
that's better.
Which is also 12 megapixels, but it's the latest thing going. We've talked about this before. And actually, that one's 12.1. This one just says 12.
Yeah.
I come down to the end when it started getting dark, And again, it's the same megapixels and everything, but when it started getting dark, the shots at the end of the old camera are not usable.
Oh, okay. Where the phone is.
Where the phone is broad daylight,
Mm.
and the other camera, again, the best technology at the time, it's six years old or something. Those pictures are so dark.
Oh.
But I have been spoiled by the fact that this camera gathers light so incredibly well that I ended up having to take the last couple of shots off of the phone, because I had done some shots at the end, and the video you're seeing came off the phone. And it's all at the end, and so the last couple of shots you see came off the phone, because the ones from the other camera, when it started getting dusk, are completely unusable.
It's incredible.
They were that dark.
It's incredible how the difference in the low light they've come, and like you said, it's really got nothing to do these days with the megapixels. You give that as it's a bit of a hint, but something that's got 50 megapixels and something that's got 12. It's not always that. It could be something else that you're looking for, and like I said, it might do better in lower light than the higher range one. But then again, if you get something that's usually the 42 megapixels with really great in the light, it's the Sony, which is I must say, but the Sony one, that's what really gets me. They've got this still camera. It's 42 megapixel one, but it's about $3,500. But then you have the same camera, but it's just the lower light, better video camera, same sort of price, but it's a 12 megapixel camera. And I feel whether you like it or not, I'm not spending $3,500, even no matter how good the video is. It's got to have at least a 20 megapixel camera in it if you're paying that much. And I know I probably don't need it. We'll be buying it for the video, but you just want you've got to have that facility these days to do both. Like even this little Panasonic, it has a facility to take pictures, whereas back then when I got this in, probably 6, 7, 8 years ago now, back then it was everybody had video cameras, and it says, oh, now this one takes a picture. Oops. Have you disappeared?
Okay.
Oh, I was just going to say, you've
that's how dark the other picture was.
Let's have a look. I'll just put okay. That's the dark
one.
See
how dark that is, and then let me switch screens, and I'll show you the other one. Let's see.
Yeah.
Get rid of that one.
The great thing about this break-in, I know exactly where you're talking about all the time, because I knew exactly where the door is, because you've seen it on the video, and I know when you're standing at the top of your balcony looking downstairs to where the burglar was sleeping and watching the TV and that. So it's just doing that one. But it worked once, didn't it? It
surely did. Yeah, maybe that's the problem. I guess I jinxed it. But anyway, the next shot, which once you can actually see that I've removed the tools and the things sitting around the plywood there that we put on the wall. This was later, probably by as much as 20 minutes or so later, and it's like broad daylight in the camera picture. Oh well. I could try again a little bit later on, I guess. Let me see. Yeah, we're back. Okay, but anyway, it's about 20 minutes later and darker, but the picture, and it didn't like pixelate the picture or make it really grainy or anything. It's just a really good picture that looks like it was taken 2 hours earlier.
So with that job you're doing, you're putting that there, you're getting rid of the door altogether, are you, and just boarding it up and doing that?
Yeah. The thing is, it's set up to where it's a great room. It's like 28 by 18. And so there's glass almost completely on the ends of the room. And then that's the long side of the wall on that. And there was a door there, and there's another window that's very nearly the same size at the other end of that side of the house. And so we don't really need that. When we first got there were 4 sliding glass doors on that room. And so this was one of them. And then we replaced 2 of the doors with a regular entry door with side lights and, fancy windows and stuff. You see that whenever you pass the spiral staircase. It was that one there. Plus, then the other one they threw the firewood through. We've ordered glass for that, but it still hasn't come in yet. But yeah, what we're doing is boarding this up. We're eventually going to do new siding, but we needed to make this plywood. They don't even make our siding anymore, so they make this plywood to where it was flush with the side of the siding that's already on there. But in this shot here that I'm trying to show, the picture is so much lighter. It's so much lighter than the other picture, but it looks like, but it was taken a half an hour later almost after I cleared all the tools out and got all that stuff like that. It's all of a sudden just gone now. And but it's bright. It looks like it's midday, and this other camera could not reproduce even the amount of light that was there.
And they do such a good job, like I said, it's not just like it's a decent sort of picture. It's not that full of noise that you can't see. Oh, is that the same time as that other shot, or a bit later?
No, this is about 20 minutes or a half hour later.
Oh, and that looks like it was about 3 hours earlier, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It totally does. Yeah, I'm trying to make sure it's okay. Because, but you see the tools are already gone.
Yeah, and the detail.
All the tools that were gathered around the last one.
Yeah,
and this is the shot I took with this as opposed to the other camera, and I was completely shocked by the the difference just in light gathering, and realized how much that I've come to appreciate and rely on this new camera, and this new phone. It's a camera too, and how well it does. For point and shoot, that type of thing, it does so much for you. The composition, I'm sorry, the camera can't help you with that.
No, that's right.
But as far as doing all the technical details, the focusing, it's way better at focusing. It actually again handles the exposures, and stuff like that. And it just seems like, even though it's the same megapixels as the other camera, the graininess that you don't encounter in lower light levels are so much better.
I was talking to a friend the other day, and he showed me these pictures that somebody else took, and he said, "Am I wrong? But are these awful pictures?" And I said, "Yes." I said,
"Yeah, they're just not good."
But I said, "But not being horrible." But I said, because he showed me all these pictures from this person who's done it. I won't mention names, but if you're watching, he knows who I'm speaking about. But there were so many of them, and they were that bad. I said, it is impossible for that person to take these pictures so badly. I said, with the cameras that they are today, no matter how horrible you click, you've got to get some in focus. I said, it's the way somebody's uploaded them and transferred them. I said, they've done a 12 megapixel picture for a 30K resolution or something. They've done it. I said, it's not possible. And I said, this poor person's I said, you're criticizing the picture. What about everybody else will say, oh, I said, it's a really bit embarrassing, because I said, they can't, because yourself, with all those cameras, it is nearly impossible to have, yes, the composition might be off and that, but it's impossible to take that bad a picture that it's so out of focus every single shot. And I said, even if it was on manual focus, the chances are sometimes something would be in focus in the shot, but nothing was in focus. So I said, it's got to be somebody's transferred these onto this playing website. And I said, but they've done it down to such a small size that it's horrible. I said, because look around at all the other things are fine, but just not the pictures. So I said, just give them a break. It's not their fault. I said, but what if they're showcasing their work? I said, they look awful. I said, I just don't want to. They were that bad, you just couldn't look at them. They were so out of focus, so blurry. But as I said, I'm sure if you saw the originals, because yourself, you could just on a feed, click. Yeah, you might get some, but if you click, you'd get one or two. You'd have to have some of them, and these would have been the ones that the person would have picked to put up. So the wouldn't.
Well, true professionalism is not so much how good you are at taking pictures, but I think it's after looking at all the pictures that you've taken, deciding which ones to put up. Because if you're not a true professional, you'll put up some pretty bad stuff.
Well, and that's why it's also good. Like you said, it's just getting used to what you throw away and what you keep. Because I'm one of those, you think, oh, yeah, it's in focus, but I'll keep it while I've got storage. But I'll get to that stage where storage becomes a lot, and then I'll say, rubbish, out of focus, rubbish, no, I don't need that. But sometimes I keep things because it doesn't mean much to you today, but in 5 years' time, it might, I did take all those pictures that was a bit of a rubbish of this person, they're no longer with us, and you just go, yeah, they might not have been the best, but I've got something. And I thought, well, I've got that there. I just keep the only ones I chuck away are the ones where you take it when the lens cap is still on and it's totally black. But even the totally black ones, I put them in Lightroom and turn it up to do something. You can sometimes recover some things out of them, but it's usually if it's too noisy and that. But I make the habit of now when I upload my pictures to the editing software, before I do anything, I quickly look, no, rubbish, don't like that, just delete it from the disk, delete it, and just leave the dozen or so that I'm not too sure about. And because I thought if you don't, you just get tons and tons of rubbish. And let's face it, I don't do a lot with them. I've really got to do something and go and take some more photos and even put them on the site. Even if nobody looks at them, I'll put them up there for some reason anyway. So.
Well, the most common bad picture, the one that I delete, and I just delete it straight out of camera, is whenever I am. Oh, there you go.
It's Susie again. I can't resist having her.
Susie. The most common picture I delete with the new phone is a picture that comes across very similar like this.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because whenever I'm doing one of my videos, like where it's mounted on the dashboard and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Somehow I'll go up and I put my hand over where the camera is to pull the thing out, release the holder, and somehow, I mean, you can just look at this almost. It's so sensitive, and that's my wife. We just got her one of these this week, and so she's talking about how sensitive the thing is and just how it actually does it whenever you do it. Because her old phone had like 16 megapixels, and how this one's 60 or not megapixels, but gigabytes of memory, and this one here has 64. Just how much room the operating system has to breathe. But you pick up the phone, and when I do that, somehow I always get a picture where my hand is over the camera. Yeah. So it's taking a picture of the palm of my hand, and I don't even remember touching the picture taking button on the screen. I'm actually getting a hold of the other end of it, and it'll take a picture almost every time. I don't know if I'm shaking it and making it happen or what, but I see that every time I have a video, and then I go to the gallery, I look in there, and right beside it is a picture of the palm of my hand out of focus.
Have you done that with that camera? I like with the Android where you set it up so you can say cheese and it takes it. Have you set that up on?
No,
that
I haven't heard that. You mean you can do audio cues and it'll take it?
Yeah, no, on yours, yeah. So you can. I've done that. Was one thing I love. Say when you can, because the biggest problem with those, you hold it up, and by the time you flick around to press the button, you do that, but you can hold it up and say smile, and it'll take the picture. You'll say a keyword.
Wow.
You can change. You have a look on that on the settings. There's I think it's cheese. I don't know if it's smile or there's a key phrase. You just say that and it will take the picture. So it's perfectly still. So you don't have to push on because sometimes it's just that little bit awkward, isn't it, on any phone? And I miss that. Well, you don't have that on the iPhone, but you just miss it when you touch the thing. Then you're not looking what you're doing through the thing, but you can say, "Oh, smile," and it does that for you. And then also that's meant for so you can do selfies a bit better as well. Smile, and so it will take the picture yourself. So.
Yeah. My wife, she put on a couple of videos on Facebook while we were doing it. Telling everybody what we were doing and that type of stuff. And what's funny is, she had discovered whenever I was getting ready to do my videos, I wasn't exactly sure what format they would take. And I found this selfie stick on, some kind of a closeout, sale somewhere. And so I bought that while she was in Florida. She discovered the selfie stick. And she's adopted it now. And she was holding, the selfie stick out, and we were doing video. And so you could see both of us and you could see what was behind us and all that. And so, they put the camera far enough away from us to where you could actually see, what was going on because the selfie stick kept the camera far enough away, and she's fallen in love with that and has basically adopted it. So it's her thing now. But what I think is really cool that we didn't have on the other ones, this one here, you can do the camera on this side.
Yes.
Or whenever it's facing you,
yes,
you have an automatic monitor to see how you're lined up. And so you can just switch back and forth between the two, depending on what type of video you're doing. The versatility of the thing is, and the fact that you always have it on you all the time. They always said that the best camera you could ever have is the one you've got with you right now.
But I mean, I'll tell you what you should do is try now. You and your wife have got the 8. Just say, okay, get little tripods and do a 2-camera shoot. with that and do that, because nobody will notice it, and just you say, here I am when my Canon Cinema TV camera thing, and this says, what do you think to this great? Oh, and I bet you people say, oh, what great quality, fantastic. So yeah, great. And then because they wouldn't know that it was from a phone, because they do such a great job. They do fantastic. Because the Samsungs especially, that's one thing I did like when I did have the Samsung, was the camera, and that was the only thing I really missed, getting it and going back to the Apple. The Apple's got a nice camera, but the Android one in the Samsung just seemed that was just that much more exciting and just seemed better. I don't know why, but I just really did enjoy that. But I bet you if you did two of them together, it's quite amazing what you can do. And get yourself DaVinci Resolve. If you've got get to that, that's free. And not illegal free, it's legally free.
Right,
so,
right. It's like really free.
Really free, and if you
Resolve.
If you get too far advanced, then they say, well, no, that's past the free version. You need to pay the extra. But I mean, you can do multicam shots. You can, cut and slice, do L and J cuts. You can do fade ins, fade out, keyframes, all these different ones, color grading. It's pretty much more than you'd ever want to do, and it's free. And as I said, you can't go, and it's Windows and Macintosh, so you can go through both systems. But DaVinci Resolve by Blackmagic, and it's free. But as I said, you can't. And then if you get your two camera shots, you'll be able to sync them together and do that, and then it'll be fantastic for your video editing. Then you'll put these ones on and put titles on the front, because it does all that. You can put little clips together, but it's sort of like having, like the Macs always have iMovie in that on there, and that's even better than that, because a lot of people get the DaVinci Resolve for the color grading, because it is really good at doing the colors on that. But I just can't get over that something as good as that is free. So it's just, quite fantastic. So,
well, no, that sounds really cool, because we've never had two of any type of camera that would give you identical video. Because what we could do, I mean, I could just see somewhere sitting down at a picnic table outside somewhere, having one camera directly on us in the front and another one as a side shot that you could switch back and forth and do that, and it would be identically as good, because we've both got the S8 Plus.
And,
so it's
and as
like,
I said, and it doesn't.
I had not thought of that. That's fancy.
And the thing is, you don't have to say, right, 3, 2, 1, let's start. You can just start one and start the other. And once they both go, and then do a big clap, because that's all it needs. Something loud that it'll hear on both of them to pick up on the shot. So that's all it needs to do to pick up on that. So.
Well, I was past age 50 before I realized why they used clapper boards. Because I mean, I had no idea that they always did that, and that's that movie thing. And but you don't realize it's a specific spike in the audio to where you can actually sync up the audio and the video.
And the video, that's right, and that's what it is. It's just because it goes right through the roof, and so you just know exactly where it is, and that's when you do that. And in the old days, 10 years ago, you'd get the file and you'd have to match that up via that and just match it up identically. But now they're so good at it these days, it just does it itself. So it says, well, these are the two clips. That's the point. That's one. They're both exactly the same. Maybe one slightly different. I'll match it up from that. So one can start 5 minutes earlier, and then it says, oh, well, so one screen will be blank until the other one comes on. So it'll do quite good on that. So let's have a look, see if I.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about that. We can have, like you say, two camera stuff.
Well, I was just going to say, if I've got this, can I show you this? It's up. I don't know what I've done now. I don't think DaVinci Resolve liked it with the. Oh yes, it did. I was going to say, I didn't think. I'm going to put something over the top of you, Mr. Holbrook. Let's make you small. Well, there you go. There. So that's DaVinci Resolve. I haven't got enough room in the. I've expanded it too much into the window, so I'm just. There you are, poking through there, but I'll just put that over so, okay, that's where, so you can see that.
Oh, so you have your multiple timeline there.
This is the most key part about it, the easy thing. There's these things here, so that's where you get your scenes in. You just go and import your scenes. That's where you edit it. That's where you color grade it.
Wow.
That's where you do your music, your sound, or just your audio. And then that's where you send it, that one's the one where you end up sending it out for YouTube or Vimeo or whatever, and that's that. One of the first ones, just all the different timelines. So, but I mean, I just think that's fantastic. Just have a package like that, and you see this one will show you if you that's the one that's coming into the clip that you want to be doing in there, and if you're doing anything, if I've got anything into the clip there, that's that one there, and then that actually got onto the sign, and then it's got the sound on it. But it's just fantastic. I just can't get over how well it is done for a free package. And as I said, so much for you. I just can't believe that it's there. So it's really good. So don't save. Shut that down and put you back to your former glory. There you go. That there. But I just think for something like that, for free, why would you be bothered illegally downloading anything or doing that when you can get something like that?
I've just been using the package that comes with Windows. I'm getting a back echo on my voice now for some reason.
Oh, are you? Oh, still?
Well, as soon as you started with the yeah, it's a kind of a delayed back echo that started happening as soon as you started trying to show me Resolve.
Okay, let's see if I can do. Are we getting it? Are you getting it now on this shot?
Okay, let me try it again. Yes, I'm still getting it.
Yep, I've switched off my DaVinci Resolve. I'm not getting anything through my end, so I don't know whether it is because it says, well, you can't do that. That's twice as much. You're not allowed to do that. Oh, then I can close you down. You still got the echo?
Okay, let me see.
Still got the echo?
Yeah, just yeah. I'm hearing it. What it is, it's just the beginning of each thing I say popping back and forth.
Oh, okay, but not the whole thing. Well, just as well we did it near the end of the show because we've got about 3 more minutes because we started about 10 to, so at least it's not coming through the show end. It's just in your ears by the sounds of it. So if you don't answer me back, I'll understand because I know when I've done that before, it's so hard to concentrate when you hear the first thing you say back 2 seconds later. You just can't think again. It's just sort of like...
Yeah, this is not so much that it's distracting because the full words aren't coming out, but it's it's just kind of an interesting thing. I may need to get you to give me the audio or just go ahead and upload the show to the Dropbox anyway, if you don't mind, because actually since I got out of sync this morning, see, I was sleeping at night and then I set the clock and got up to do the show. And so I didn't even push the button until about 20 minutes in on the show to record the audio because I got out of my sync and I just messed up.
And that's exactly when I did that other show the other week with Rick, and it was all echoey because I got out of sync with different time. I forgot to put my earphones in and didn't do the whole thing, and the audio was wrecked. So so I'll do the Dropbox, put the whole, because I have to download it to put it on Vimeo. So I'll download it, and then you can strip out the audio if you want to on that as well.
I appreciate it because, like you say, if I get out of sequence, if I get out of the order I normally do things, I will forget things. Actually, at work, in my locker, I've got deodorant in there just in case something happens to where I forget to, I get out of order what I'm doing, getting ready. I'll forget to put on deodorant. So I have deodorant in my locker at work just in case.
I was just going to say, that was Pussycat. Yeah, Pussycat. Sadie and Simon. Yep. Pussycats on
there. You go.
On there. But yes, I must admit I'm the same. If like people just don't understand when you go like, I go to work, I have to get to work, get into my routine, get your coffee, sit down, get ready. I cannot come in at the time you start and just jump into it. You've got to you've got to prepare, set up, and then your day goes fine. If you don't, you're chasing your tail for the whole day. You never catch up if you just don't spend a few minutes preparing things. And as I said, you have a habit of doing a way of doing things, and you get thrown out of that. And that's what I try and do a lot of. They write it down or put it on as a task. And some people say, well, why don't you? You're just going to do that in a minute. I said, yeah, I'm going to do that in a minute. But what if I don't? I'll forget. Because sometimes people say, oh, it's only an easy one. I'll just do that in a minute. I said, yeah, but what if something else in that minute distracts you from that? You've forgotten all about it. Put it on your list to do that. So Anyway.
I found all my life I've lived out in the country, so I found that whenever we first got married, that we moved into an apartment that was only 7 minutes from my work, and I was used to a 45-minute commute every day, and so I hated that.
It was
Because I'm used to mentally preparing myself as I go into work, listening to something, doing whatever. And so I would be asleep, then I would be in the shower, then I'd be sitting at my desk at work, and I'm like,
that's not right. No.
yeah, and so it would take me a half an hour to get into the swing of things at work because I was just getting to work too fast.
Yeah, because you quite look forward, because when you do have a bit of a commute, once you get used to it, like you said, even if you listen to the radio or your podcast, but there's certain things on the radio that you look forward to, that because they always have certain things on at certain times, and you like to listen to that, or your podcast. So it's sort of your quiet time because nobody's going to bother you there, and you just said people don't phone you too much, and you can always switch that off if you don't want to be disturbed and that. So anyway, we're coming to the end of the show number 52, and unfortunately I won't be able to come next week because I'll be flying home from Brisbane because I'm going next Tuesday and staying Tuesday night and coming back. I'll leave there about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, but it's a 2.5 hour flight, and then fighting the traffic back from Melbourne back to here. That I'm sure. Well, I'll be too tired. I won't be bothered speaking anyway. So, so we'll see you all back on the 8th of August. That'll be our next show. But you might do, like you said, one in between times. Do you think, Jeffrey?
Yes, I'm talking to my brother again to see if he wants to be a co-host with me, and if not, believe me, there'll be something. I release something every week.
What we should get you into, get some Wirecast and get you into broadcasting as well, so you could do the YouTube one as well. But I'll have a look around because there's some ones like the Wirecast, but the free ones, there's some good ones around that you could flip your feed. So instead of like we were trying to share your screen before, you can just push that through, get the other screen without cutting off the other one. So we'll see that anyway. So anyway,
well, like I say, if anybody wants to hear the audio podcast on the weeks that we're not available here on video, you can go to holbrooknewmedia.com.
Yep. And I'm going to go after this, going to watch your renovating videos to see the difference from the light from the two different cameras. Anyway, so we'll catch you all for me, 2 weeks' time. I'll see you not next week, the week after. Bye for now.
Thank you so much for listening. Links for a free subscription, feedback, and everything else we do is at holbrooknewmedia.com. You can find all things Geoff Blanchard at geoffblanchard.com.